I'm Vince, and I'm here with my co-host Stevie D. Stevie D, how are you?
Doing good. How are you doing?
Not good.
Yeah, I waited a few hours to reach out. I waited. I did the courtesy. Actually, Dina actually said the same thing. Like, hey, is Vince all right? So, the doctor will call him in a little bit later. Needs time to decompress from today's action.
Yeah,
So.
not good at all. Any stretch of the imagination. You remember we used to have the segment, got to get this off my chest.
Yes. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so I think it is something that we need to bring back. You know, it was therapeutic. It really was. It was therapeutic. A lot of size here, Stevie D. You know, first and foremost, tip of the cap to the Steelers, to the Steeler fans.
Who the heck is this guy?
Yeah, I don't know.
Tip of the cap to the Steelers.
Yeah, no, you know why? I'll tip of the cap to the Steelers fans. There's some that are out there. Sherilyn, congratulations. Scott Gustick, congratulations. All right, I got that out the way, right? But when I look at that game, Stevie D, I don't know if you watched it, and I'll talk about it a little bit more, but I just got to get this off my chest. I'm not sure if that game was one of not being prepared because of a lack of a preseason. I'm not sure if that game was reading too many headlines. I'm not sure if that game was being cautious. Or lastly, I'm not sure if that game was somebody thinking they were the boy genius, the kid wonder, right? Ted Lasso's Nate, the kid wonder. I'm not sure, right? I'm still trying to figure this out because part of me believes, and I think we talked about this, that I think a lot of teams, not only the Bills, but I think a lot of teams, what we saw in week one was a byproduct of a lack of a preseason. You know, the players, you could talk about injuries, you could talk about CTE, you could talk about all of that. But the way that they manage the players, it's kind of like they got a double dose, right? Not only did they cut back on the hitting and the length of time of preseason, they also cut back on the number of games, right? So it's a win-win across the board for the players, right? And who's the biggest loser out of this? The coaches and the fans. And here's why I say that. Because the coaches now have limited film of game time. They have limited time to actually put these guys through the paces in practice to see what is the right fit, right? And really be able to determine what's going to work in week one. And you don't have that. The fans are a loser because your team is not playing at 100% on week one, right? And so not everybody, because we saw some prolific offenses. We saw some, and dare I say, some standout defensive play because it could be because there was lack of preparation on the offensive side. But I think it hurts. And, the way we go down this, I think there's a miss. There's a big miss here. Everybody's afraid of an injury. We've talked about it, whether that injury happens in the third week of preseason or the second week of the regular season. The injuries are part of the game. It's going to happen. To me, I would be better served having a longer preseason, a longer training camp, right? Maybe you only play 3 games, but you have a longer training camp. I like the fourth game because that fourth game was for guys 45 through 53 on the roster.
Without a doubt. That's the point for me, right? As a fan, look, preseason games, really at the end of the day, if you're looking to see the starters play, it's game 3, right? In a 4 preseason game. The dress rehearsal was game 3. Everybody wanted to see the starters go 3, maybe 3.5 quarters. But as I got older, I actually appreciated more of the 4th game.
Right.
Because as a younger fan, I'm all about the stars. I want to see the stars play when I'm a younger fan. As I got older and I'm maturing and watching the game of football and learning the game of football and wanting to talk about the game of football, you want to see those 45 to 60, wherever that cut is for that 4th game where they have to get down to that final cut of 53.
Yeah.
Those players, because how many players are we now cutting that we don't know if they're going to be the next stud? Because they don't get an opportunity. They're just cut. They're not a draft pick. They were undrafted free agent, but it was like they were way down in the undrafted free agent list, and they didn't get shot. Oh, we'll try and sign them to the practice squad. Or maybe they do sign them to the practice squad. Maybe they don't. Maybe the person goes and gets a full-time job because they got to make money, and they walk away from the game. But they could have been something. And that's where I think in the NFL, we hurt not having a minor league. Baseball's got the minor leagues.
Yeah.
NHL's got the minor leagues. I'm sure basketball's got to have something to keep these guys in shape. There's got to be some type of league somewhere, I would think. But if not, maybe they would need it. But for football, you had the NFL Europe. You had all these different things that start up and stop. But to me, if you had a league that these players can continue to play, learn, hone a craft, get stronger, get faster, learn schemes, learn defenses, learn offenses, I think it would make the game better, because then when somebody gets hurt, you could sign somebody to an active roster like they do in the minor leagues. You bring somebody up. Now, whether that team is – I don't think the players would necessarily be on – like the Jets would have enough players to make their own team. But if you put a mix of, a few hundred players together, I don't know.
Well, that's what they did. That's what they did in NFL Europe, right? It was you had kind of a hodgepodge of players from different teams, right? You saw a guy that played for the Jets and played for the Bills on the offensive line side by side, right? And a guy from the Bears next to him, right? But to your point, you're getting the tutelage, you're getting the game experience. The only thing you may lose in something like that is maybe learning the playbook that would transition if you got to call up, right?
Right, but think about what it could do for coaching. Having more coaching candidates, now you have a guy running as a head coach.
Oh! Sorry.
I'm glad I could bring that up.
So, not that I want to segue, because I mean, this is a great topic that we're talking about.
No, we can definitely segue.
But you just hit me. Urban Meyer says he's not going. Is Eric Bieniemy headed to USC?
That wouldn't be until after the season.
But still, is he headed to USC?
It's a possibility. He can't get a head coaching job in the NFL. So
exactly. He never got the shot in 2 years now.
Yeah.
For 2 years, his name has been top of the list. And whether it be because of the long playoff run or whatever it is by the Chiefs, he hasn't gotten that head coaching job that everybody says he's ready for. All of a sudden, USC is coming knocking. Sorry. I
think he's a really good candidate for that job. But to digress back to the other topic, it's really to give these guys an opportunity to be a head coach, whether it's Eric Bieniemy or anybody else, right? You give them that shot. Because everybody, well, you've never been a head coach before. Well, how else am I supposed to get that experience? So it opens up doors for coaches as well, for offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, executives. For people to learn how to be an executive even at that level, right? Because you still got to scout the right players and make a winning program. So,
maybe they could take you and me, CBD, as coaches. I take the offense. You can have the defense.
Oh, I sign up for that all day long.
Yes.
Give me the defense.
And then I can go
Oklahoma drills. Bringing it back, baby.
To the Pagulas and say, this Dable guy, I don't know what he's calling. Oh, yeah. Trust my process. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. We had week 1, Stevie D. Yeah. It opened up with a bang. right? And I thought it was going to be a dud. When they announced it, I thought it was going to be a dud. Leading up to opening kickoff, I thought it was going to be a dud. I thought it'd be a bigger dud because Dak from the Cowboys hadn't really done anything in preseason, in training camp, right? Nursing the shoulder. We were talking about leading up into when we were doing our preview show, talking about the fact that, and I changed my mind. I said I was going Christian McCaffrey. Originally, I said Dak for comeback, right? But it was that mental part that I said that he had to get over. Well, he got over it. Right? Yeah, he did. At some point, he got over that before the game started because Dak just went out there and just put up numbers that were just – well, no. What Dak did was he picked up from when he got hurt last year.
Yeah.
That's what he did. Because last year, no defense from the Cowboys, and Dak had to carry the Cowboys, and he was going absolutely bonkers, right? Throwing 500, 600 yards, all these touchdowns. Everything was so prolific in the air, and then he got hurt. Well, flip the page to the next season against one of what's supposed to be one of the top defenses in the NFL, and really they just picked on Jameel Dean. In fact, let's call a spade a spade. This is what happened. They looked down there. Where's 35? Okay, we're going there, and it didn't matter. CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, it didn't matter who was over there. We're going to you because Dean is the one that's covering you. Stevie D?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. Well said on the Dak side. With they lost Zach Martin, right, the guard.
Yeah.
Right, and we all know how good he is. And now he's coming back this week, and then you lose Collins to a 5-game suspension, right?
Odd on a number of games.
Yeah, it is odd. It would be nice to get a little bit of explanation of how they got to 5. But where's Zeke, right? And where? I mean, he is, last year, okay, you lost Dak. They're going to key on the run a little bit more. He's not going to have a big season. But, week 1, they almost throw the rock 60 times, and Zeke's nowhere to be found. And, is this week going to bounce back out? I just didn't see Zeke as a factor in that game. And maybe I just wanted to, maybe it was just, hey, we're going to sling it. We're going to show Dak is good. That was the game plan they wanted to do. Maybe they saw something in the film. Or maybe they said, you know what, we're just going to go toe-to-toe because we're not going to be able to stop Tampa Bay's offense. And so we're just going to sling it like Tampa Bay. And we're just going to have an old-fashioned slugfest. I mean, what'd they throw, 105 passes or something?
Something close to that. Something close to that. When you look at Zeke, right, and you look at what he did, he had a couple get-offs, right, where he was able to get some yardage. Now, again, you're going up against a stout defensive line, for sure. Vita Vea is back in there. They have –
dude, he's a beast.
He
is. See him manhandle the center? It's like,
they got like 5 yards back, right? And then pancaked him. He pancaked him, right? But, still, it just looked like he didn't have the get-off that he used to have a few years back. And, I'm not a Cowboys fan, not a Zeke fan, wasn't an Ohio State fan, right? But you can appreciate the skills that the guys have. I'm starting to question if that tank is starting to get a little empty over there for him. Because if you think about it, they ran him hard early. They ran him hard. Every time he was like, let's eat. Yeah, there were miles being put on there. And now you're wondering, is it starting to pay its toll? So
hence the problem for running backs.
And then we had your boy. And, I wasn't going to say anything early in the podcast when we were talking about, guys 43 through or 40 through 53 trying to make the roster, what would have happened? Well, go back some time. You're a sixth round draft pick. Do you actually, in this kind of abbreviated preseason and training camp and not getting the reps, not getting the time on film, would a 6th-round draft pick actually have made the team, or would he have been on a practice squad or something like that? And so your boy, we may never know, but in all fairness, 55, 65 years old, however old he is, he was out there. well, him and Eddie Guerrero, they
Right.
got some
Right.
concoction going on. He's throwing the ball 50 times a game, right? 50 times a game. That's not what I would expect. It's the new NFL, that's for sure, but that's not what I would expect from them. And he got it done.
Yeah, he did.
I will say, not because I'm anti him, we'll just call him QB12. Not that I'm anti him, but they were certainly aided by the no call on the pass interference.
Yeah, that was an awful miss. That was an awful miss. That was not even close.
And again, your guy Al Michaels and Chris Collins and Chris Collinsworth. So I'm listening to them.
Just so your nephew picked up on it, goes, Uncle Vince, he doesn't like him, does he? I said, no, Uncle Vince does not like Al Michaels. He goes, I thought that was the guy that he doesn't like.
At all. But when that play happened, because it was TB12, right? Oh, there's no penalty. There's no foul. And then I forget who was the official in the booth. It wasn't Pereira. I forget. Whoever it was in the booth. And you have Collinsworth and Michaels say, yeah, no, he didn't extend the arm. He didn't do anything. There's no pass interference.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, no, that's definitely offensive pass interference. You can see he pushed him off the spot. You can see the elbow extend.
Sure.
And so it definitely was. And then all of a sudden, because he became the source of truth, right, you see him start reeling it back in. They're like, well, yeah. No, that was as clear as all of the calls that we had last year, because there was certainly an uptick in pass interference calls last year. That was as clear as it was. They got away with it, right? At the end of the day, you find a way to win, right?
Yeah.
I don't begrudge the Buccaneers, so I don't want to hear any hate or see any hate texts, tweets, Instagram, Facebook posts. No, I'm not hating on your Bucs. I do hate on Stevie D's boy, but I'm not hating on them. But when something like that happens in a situation like that, in a game like that, right? That's week 1, opening day. It's on prime time. It's on NBC, so we know that every household in America can get that game. It's coming down to the end where potentially the Super Bowl or Exhibition Bowl game champs, where they're playing against the so-called America's team, right? So every household in America is watching this game. And then you have a blown call like that, right? And you want to back the blown call. It really does. Sometimes it can do damage. I was glad that the official was able to bring a little levity and clarity to that. And, but yes, they won. In spite of not having a good running game, in spite of Leonard Fournette not knowing how to catch the football, in spite of Chris Godwin fumbling the ball at the goal line, in spite of all of that, they came back and won. And the kick was clutch. It was a clutch kick, money kick. So then we had to wait for Sunday. And you may ask, well, why are we waiting for Sunday? Yeah, everybody's team is playing. But in the Tampa Bay area, they were focused on what was happening with the Saints. They were focused on that because there's so much hate down here for Jameis. They want to see Jameis fail down here, and I don't know why. Right?
I don't know why either.
He had a great run. He didn't do anything to
warrant the hate.
Yeah, to warrant the hate. And it started from day one, right? You have the Gator fans that are anti-Jameis because he's FSU. Then they wanted to pile on, whether it be the so-called rape allegations or whether it be the crab leg incident or whether it be eating W's. Yeah, he's done some stuff, but it hasn't really been that bad where you have that much venom and hatred towards him, and everybody couldn't wait for him to fail, right? And you say, well, he threw 30 interceptions. He did. He also threw 30-plus touchdowns. He also threw for 5,000 yards, right? So, to me, you knew what it was going in, Stevie D. You had Bruce Arians coming in, and he was supposed to be another one of these quarterback whisperers, right? But he's a push the ball downfield gambler, high risk, high reward type coach. That's what he is.
Adam Gase just texted me and says, "Why are you calling Arians the quarterback whisperer? I'm the quarterback whisperer." I don't know. Gase is just not happy right now.
Should Tampa have hired Gase?
he would have fixed something.
But so Jameis did a lot of what you expected him to do, right? Cut down on the turnovers, and some of them were bad. I'm not going to defend him for some of those some bad pick sixes, right? The last one, I think, to end the season was against San Francisco or Washington or whoever it was. I was like, oh, what are you doing, right? For open a week, right? They got all the way there. He throws a pick six, but it was really good to see Jameis with the Saints, right? And maybe Sean Payton really has that moniker for quarterback whisperer, or just a better offensive mind on how to use your players and put them in the best position to be successful.
There you go, right? The brief times that he bring in Hill, he was able to maximize Hill's potential and ability to get positive plays. And you look at Winston, what do you do in Tampa? He probably averaged 38 passes a game, thereabouts. And he was a touchdown to interception was probably 50-50. First game with the Saints as a starter.
Oh, yeah. Got new visitor. I like crab legs.
Bottom 12 QB. Well, not right now he's not. But when you look at it at his statistics, he threw the ball for under 20 pass attempts, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. So maybe they have some type of formula there. Right, limit the throws.
What is this, like a reunion chat here? All of a sudden this is turned away from the whole essence of the podcast.
Hey!
Hey, how you doing, Stevie D? What's been going on? Yeah.
We got some love for that team later. Don't worry. You got bit by the Fitz magic.
Right? Didn't even take 3 games.
Consider yourself lucky.
Took a quarter. But go ahead.
Yeah, it's just, they limited his pass attempts, right? Instead of throwing 38 times, they were able to work it where he's under 20, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. Completion percentage, 70+. Won 38-3. If I'm Green Bay, I'm like, what the heck just happened?
So there's some speculation out there about this one. There is.
I heard Aaron Rodgers may go in for the USC job.
But there's some speculation that Rodgers actually did that on purpose.
No.
Yeah, 17-game season. He's like, if we look at the numbers, first of all, I play in the NFC North. I got to go against the Bears, the Lions, and the Vikings, right? I got the North.
We can win that division at 9-8.
Exactly. I'm good. And then, in a way, just to kind of stick it to the organization. You look at it, he only threw 5 picks all of last year. All of last year. And he drops 2 in the fourth.
I don't know. I don't know. Look,
he
didn't play in the preseason. Maybe they were all off. I don't know. He didn't get a lot of training camp time. Does he really need it? I mean, the guys – I don't know. I just look at him like, come on, man. I hear you. 38-3.
You know what, Bursty, we're going to have to just bring you in, right? You'll be the third panel in here, kind of like some of the shows we've seen on the 4-Letter Network. But I'm not saying that it happened, right? I'm not saying that it happened. But knowing the personality, or what we think we know of the personality,
his ego, he's not going to throw a game in the fact of I'm going to want to hurt my numbers.
Really?
Yeah, really. I don't think he would.
if he thinks that he can just run it up now, right? Go 30 touchdowns, 2 more interceptions, 3 more interceptions, whatever it may be. He's good. Plus, he kind of just. Plus, that's it. Look up. That's it. Look up to the owner's box.
Yeah, but so you're saying he's throwing just one game? He's just going to throw the one game to say, you mess with the,
exactly
whatever that saying is.
You mess with the bull, you get the horns.
The horns, yeah. I don't know. It's possible. I never say never.
Right. I'm not saying that. Just these are things that I've heard. Right. And if it is true, it's kind of funny, but it also is. I don't know. You're messing with the integrity of the game at the end of the day. Stevie D, once we get past that, there were a couple of the young guys that were out there slinging that rock around. We had a game in Carolina that featured your boys taking on your former boy. And that one, to me, and we had talked about it before, that was going to be most intriguing, right? I will say, and I'm going to let all of our listeners know, that there is a definite bias from one Mr. Stevie D. And where this bias comes from is that before there was any thought or speculation that they were going to get the number 2 pick, potentially the number 1 pick, but the number 2 pick, and potentially that Sam Darnold was going to go, Stevie D was all in on Sam Darnold. And then all of a sudden, once they realized, oh, well, we're going to get a different quarterback, then we started picking out the flaws with Sam Darnold. Well, his arm isn't this and he's not that. We could definitely do a different quarterback. And so then they play. Sam has a decent game. He has a decent game.
He had a very good first half.
And here we go. Here we go. We can't give the man his due.
No, look. In all fairness, Sam had a very good first half. The Jets made adjustments. They shut it down. Look, it happens a lot in games where teams come out on fire in the first half of a game. Second half, defense make adjustments in the offense. It's not just on Sam Darnold and the Carolina Panthers. It happens a lot in football. Look at your team. The Buffalo Bills couldn't do nothing in the second half against the Steelers, right? Not that they did much in the first half against the Steelers, but they didn't score or do anything in the second half, right? So I look at Sam, but if you actually break down Sam's game, except for after the turnover on downs when we went for it on 4th down and they stuffed us on the run. And then the next play, they went over the top to Robbie Anderson for the touchdown. That you had the Jets like, oh my God, we didn't get it on 4th down. The next play, boom, they go for the bomb. Our young corners, left their safeties out by themselves, and it didn't end well. But anyway, if you look at his game, McCaffrey had 9 catches out of the backfield.
Yeah.
If you look at the passing chart from the line of scrimmage to 10 yards, all of his completions except for 2 were in that 5 to, from 0 to 10-yard marker. He had 1 catch along the sideline and then the over-the-top play to Robbie Anderson. When you break it down, I was breaking down the game of Sam Darnold. He still had the same issues that he had with the Jets, is that when he missed, he would miss high. And then he also was checking down to McCaffrey when he had receivers open downfield, and the Jets didn't have a great pass rush. He's still lacking the vision of going through progressions to find the guys downfield. And I don't know if that's part of what happened with the Jets. I don't know. Hold
on, though. To that point, is that not having the vision down the field, or is that going to the player who you have trust and confidence in that can turn a 5-yard swing pass into a 25-yard or 50-yard home run?
Well, I don't know, because McCaffrey only had 8 catches for 98 yards or something like that. So he didn't hit the home run. Maybe he had a little bit more than 100 yards receiving, because he had 98 yards rushing.
And that's your running back. Keep in mind, that's your running back.
Yeah, right. But
I'll take that all day long.
That's great and all. Sure, that's great, and that will get you X amount of wins per season, but it won't win you playoff games. Carolina's not that good. But when you have players open downfield that are 25 yards downfield, I'll take that 25-yard throw completion and let my wide receiver go the distance.
But you're assuming that wide receiver can catch the ball. right? What if that player,
Okay, Moore's going to catch the ball. Robbie Anderson's going to catch their receivers are going to catch the ball. If Sam Darnold can throw it somewhere in the right hemisphere, they'll catch the ball. But I saw the same tendencies out of Sam with the Jets that didn't make him successful that I saw week 1 against a really young defensive football team. In the second half, when the defense made adjustments, he threw for 30 yards in the second half. Let me repeat that. He threw for 30 yards in the second half. The Jets were making a comeback, and he couldn't do anything with the football in the second half. So, Carolina could feel great. Sam Darnold could feel great about the win. But at the end of the day, they beat a young football team that's learning on a young defense, and they won 19-14. Again, Sam didn't turn the ball over. I'm happy for him. He's a great kid. But it's not like he found the fountain of youth, even though he's only 25 years old. He still has got to work through the same issues he had with the Jets. Right? I look at the quarterback that replaced Sam in Zach Wilson. Whew! You might have a deer in headlights. The offensive line, I think the Jets' offensive line graded out the worst in week 1.
Like, impossible.
Oh, my God.
Impossible.
He got hit 12 times and sacked 6 times.
Impossible. You just take that ride up 90, go right to Orchard Park in the Highmark Stadium.
We'll get to that debacle here in a second.
And that's where the offensive line graded out the worst.
But I thought Zach Wilson in the second half, I thought the LaFleur made adjustments for Zach Wilson, and they had better play calling for Zach Wilson with some checkdowns and some shorter routes and get him into a groove. We had a couple of better runs in the second half where we had 12 and 13-yard runs to open up the play action for Zach Wilson. He made a nice throw on a touchdown to Corey Davis in the right corner of the end zone.
He had 2 for you.
Yeah, 2. Yeah. He had 5 for 97. He had one drop. I thought it was a little bit of a bad throw by Zach Wilson. They're saying it's a drop. When you're asking a guy to catch it below your kneecaps and your body's in a different position, how do you call that a drop? I thought that's a little unfair on Corey Davis.
Did he touch it?
I hear you. When it hits the ground, but it's just a tough play. It's a tough play, but
you see guys like, oh, can't touch that one.
But when Zach Wilson had like maybe 15 yards passing in the first half, he finished with 258. He had 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. The 1 pick, I like what Robert Saleh said. Like, you can't lollipop it in this league, and he tried to lollipop it in there, and he needed to zip it. And Zach Wilson, when he talked about that play to the media, he said, I needed to put more zip on the ball. He goes, but even that, if I put more zip on it, there was 2 guys there. Most likely, even if I zipped it, they were going to knock it down. I need to make a better read, right? So kudos to Zach Wilson. I thought overall, for a rookie in his debut who had a really bad first half where everything went wrong, I give him credit to bounce back and have a really good second half of the game. So, we're going to grow and get better.
So there were some other rookies that were out there. Trey Lance only got to sniff the field just for a minute.
Hey, man, he's got that 158.3 passer
rating. Right? He got just a minute. He didn't need to get out there. I would like to have seen them give him a little bit more run. Justin Fields, what a gadget play type thing. But aside from Zach Wilson, the quarterback that had some time out on the field was Trevor Lawrence. A little rough start for the kid from Clemson. A little bit of a rough start. When I look at Jacksonville and I think about what are they going to do, right? And we talked about during this preview. I thought that it was going to be all Trevor Lawrence. And I still do think that. And Miami needs to, as much as we have just piled on Urban Meyer, the Miami Dolphins need to take this as an example of how you treat a rookie quarterback. They put him out there. Robert Salah, same thing. For the Jets, same thing. You put them out there. You let them go through the ups and the downs. You let them learn on-the-job training, right? That's how most of us learn best is on-the-job training. And he's going to come through it in a better place. I don't think Trevor's game was all that bad, right? I really don't. But I think it was an experience in learning more than anything, right? Learning, they talk about the speed of the game. I think that's part of it, but learning how to read the defenses, because what you're doing at Clemson is completely different than what you're doing in Jacksonville and what you're seeing in Jacksonville, right? These guys are at the highest level for a reason. Talk about the coordinators. These players are at the highest level for a certain reason. And so you'll have guys that will bait you all day long because they know that they can get back, right? It's something that we had talked about before. When you look at a professional roster, right, compared to a college roster, in college, except for when you play Alabama, you're playing against, half the team, 3/4 of the team, for the most part, are going to be selling insurance in a couple of years, right? Getting a marketing job in a couple of years. And they're going to be able to put on their resume that I played D1 ball, right? And I'm not taking anything away from these guys, right? They're the best at that level, right? But then you have the top, the cream of the crop. But that doesn't mean that everybody, again, except for Alabama, it doesn't mean that everybody from that team goes to the pros, right? You may only get one player. Out of all the players on that team, you may only get one player that goes to the pros. So think about what you're playing against in college and compare that to what you're playing against in the pros. In the pros, you're playing against all of those that were the top in college and now have moved over.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Well, I was going to say to your point, and I'm going to go back to Zach Wilson, that lollipop throw. He may be able to get away with that at BYU. Yeah. You can't. That throw you can't get away in the NFL, and it got picked off. To your point of where you're saying about the players and the speed of the game, I think that's something that Zach Wilson. I'm sure Trevor Lawrence will have plays in that game. Then he watches the film and says, "Oh man, yeah, I really can't make that play in the NFL." There it is, right?
Yeah.
Because in preseason, you may not be going all against number ones, and they may not be going all full speed in that first series of the game in preseason that you played against the one defense, right? So all of a sudden now you're in a real deal game, and the game is really going fast. And I think that's, to your point, that the good quarterbacks will pick that up and learn and say, "Yeah, I can't do that." They may not fix it by week 2. It may be a couple of weeks into the season where it really hits them and says, "Oh my God, I gotta."
Yeah. Well, and you said something. You said the good quarterbacks, and I do believe even a Jamarcus Russell, even a Ryan Leaf, I do believe that those guys were good quarterbacks, right? Good enough to take it to the next level. Sure. It's what happened. Once they got there, was it poor management around them? Could be. Was it poor coaching? Probably. Right, not putting these players in the right position to be successful. And again, you look at a Tua. I'm not a Tua fan. I'm really not. But in as much as I'm not a Tua fan, you got to have good coaching. Good coaching would not have had Ryan Fitzpatrick, and we keep harping on it, would not have had Ryan Fitzpatrick come into the game after game after game, right? Yeah. Tua needed to be out there. If he is going to be successful at all, he has got to see the tape live. He is in essence just like Zach Wilson. He's in essence just like Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Trey Lance, Mac Jones, in all of them. Kyle Trask. He's just like all of those guys because he hasn't had that full season, those full reps. Learn from your mistakes. Look at Trevor Lawrence. 3 picks, but 3 touchdowns. Throws for 300 yards, right? What that tells you is that they have the trust. He threw for 50 times, in that game.
Well, they didn't have a choice. They didn't have a choice in that game if you were trying to compete.
But if you look at that, that's only going to help him get better. That curve, that learning curve, is going to be much shorter than what it is with some of the other ones. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I think what you said, I agree with you with the Trevor Lawrence. The only thing I'd say is that he had to throw. But again, every throw you make, you're learning. It's another defensive package and scheme that you're learning to scan the field and what you're seeing on the field. And look, I don't think there was any play. I was worried. I'm not going to lie. After that first half, I was afraid for Zach Wilson because he was running for his life. But the kid was able to settle down. They changed the plays, and he had a much better second half. I think Lawrence, he got off to a rough start, but I think overall balanced out throughout the whole game. We haven't touched on Mac Jones, but Mac Jones's game, he played fine. He didn't have any turnovers. I think they played a little bit safe in New England with some of his play calling that he had to throw to. Nothing there for Trey Lance and Justin Fields to really kind of talk about. They were successful when they were on the field, but the reality is they were on the field for 3 plays. Right. So,
that's right.
But as far as the other 3 quarterbacks, I thought for debuts, I think each organization go in and say, you know what, there was plenty of positives to build off of for each one of those quarterbacks.
I agree. I agree.
Because I think it was Peyton Manning. There were some really notable quarterbacks that threw 3 interceptions in their first pro game.
I'm sure it was Manning. Manning threw a ton his rookie year.
Yeah.
Same with Aikman.
Yeah, I don't. It's what they say. It's like every game you show signs of getting better, or I made that mistake last game. They watched the film. They didn't make it the next game, right? If they had that same opportunity, did they make the same mistake? Did they learn from their mistakes, right? So those are the things that you're looking for. I like my son was come. Oh my God, Dad! The first half, he's all worried about the first half. I say, hey, bud, it's the first half of his first game. You got to relax. And then the second half, he played totally different, and he turned out to have a decent game. And same thing with
and that's true. You have to have expectations that are real. Right, you can't go in with the just because maybe one team has done it where they've taken that magical ride with the rookie quarterback. It has happened. It doesn't happen all the time. It doesn't happen, in most cases. But
think about why it doesn't happen. I mean, it's easy to find out why it really doesn't happen because you're getting drafted to a bad football team.
Well, and this is true. And this is true. But there are cases where quarterbacks have played really well. I mean, the guy that you hate the most had a phenomenal rookie year, right? He really did, but that doesn't happen all the time.
Oh, your boy.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. Now he's retired.
It's your
now
boy.
He's retired.
It's your boy. It's his birthday. You don't going to give a shout out on his birthday?
Oh, is it Dave's
That's your boy. That's your boy's birthday.
My fault. I didn't know it was your birthday.
Oh, I'm glad you didn't see that little maneuver.
But I'm glad you recognized it. Did you send him a card?
No, I was actually I was on something today, and it said I think it's his birthday today. I saw it somewhere. It says, "Oh, it's Dan Marino's birthday," and I think it was where was it? It might have been Facebook. I saw it on.
Oh, you guys are friends. It said, "Hey, Steve, your friend, Dan's birthday."
If all the people in the NFL I hate the most, it's Dan Marino.
Yeah,
and it's odd for me to say that because he's a Paisan. And I just hate him.
Fake spike. It's the fake spike.
Because the guy really—that's the greatest play. Not, you know what? I can't do it. I'm not going to do it because we're going to move on to the next game.
All right. Let me officially get this off my chest now, Stevie D. And it's why are you smiling? Yeah, I think it's great
because somebody was all excited about an undefeated season.
Yeah, so let me tell you when I knew I was in trouble. This is when I knew I was in trouble. You take the opening kickoff, 75 yards, right? You got one tackle to beat. You can't beat it. All right. But now you got the stadium jumping. I mean, the stadium, it's opening day, opening kickoff, so you already know it's rocking. You catch it. You run. You get all the way down to the 25. You know the stadium is rocking, right? I'm surprised it didn't move. You go 3-0, and you kick a field goal.
Hey, Tyler Bass, he made the kick.
Yes. But that's when I knew that we were in trouble, right? I'm not afraid of the Steelers' defense, right? We played the Steelers' defense last year, and they smothered us in the first half. And we made adjustments, that magical word, adjustments, right? We did that. They came at us and they decided, you know what? Instead of playing, a base defense, we're going to play more of a nickel defense. Well, I've played Madden, right? Big nickel doesn't matter, right? When that nickel is out there, what am I doing, right? I'm audibling at the line and I'm running the ball, right? And I'll take 5 yards all day long. And sooner or later, I'm going to bring you out of that nickel defense. just like last year, what were they doing? They were stopping anything deep, right? You couldn't get the Diggs. You couldn't get the Brown. You couldn't do anything deep. Everything was really opening up for the quick passes over the middle. That's what we did. All of a sudden, we started to break that defense. That rush wasn't coming at Allen. They were blitzing Allen. They had to stop blitzing Allen because he was able to get rid of the ball so quick. Those were adjustments that were made, and we were successful, and we won. In this game, we decided that we know best. We have a game plan. We've been working on this game plan for the last 5 months. We know who our opponent is, and this is what we're going to do. Or did you think, this brain trust, did you think because you were reading the newspaper clippings that T.J. Watt hadn't practiced and wasn't going to play, that you didn't have to worry about him, right? You just had to worry about Cam Hayward and Ingram. Is that what you thought? Right? Maybe. Did you forget that Melvin Ingram came there from San Diego? Is that what happened? And so you really were just focused on Cam Hayward, who decided that he was just going to abuse the offensive line? It deflected every pass that was thrown. It was mind-boggling how you don't change, right? When I look at it, Beasley was open all day long to the point where they even started to bring help down to cover because he was wide open and getting him for 7 to 10 yards. You keep going there. You don't have to sit there and say, well, we're definitely going to hit Diggs on, a 15, or we're definitely going to do this. We're going to try to get Sanders on this. Guys, go with what's working. I shouldn't have to tell you this. You already know this. You go with what's working. And then after you understand and you're able to bring them out of what was maybe potentially slowing you down or taking away from your game plan, now you can exploit it, right? Brian Dable, this kid wonder, a la Ted Lasso and Nate, right? But this boy genius, all of a sudden, is now being reduced to shreds, right? He's rubble. And he needs to get his head back to where it should be. And how dare I forget, when you have 4th and 1 at midfield in today's game, this isn't the 1980s where 4th and a half yard Marty Schottenheimer would bring out the punting team, right? That used to happen, right? That was legit for all. Pick out part of Marty. Well, I'm just saying for all of our young listeners, right? That was legitimate. It would be 4th and a half, and they'd be like, "Can you measure that?" Yeah, we're going to go ahead and punt, right? Even though the guy
that was more Joe Walton of the New York Jets.
It may be Joe Walton and Chuck Knox. I'll take it with Chuck Knox, right? But this game has changed, right? This game has changed. 4th and 3, they're going for it. 4th and 3 on their side of the ball. Teams are going for it. You got 4th and 1 at midfield, you punt, right? Because you're trying to play field position. How about you try to play to win, right? I'm at midfield, play to win, right? You got a quarterback that is a running quarterback, right? You supposedly you paid all this money for Mitch Morse, right? Why don't you do that, right? Go get that 1 yard, but you punt, right? The next time, you punt. Now, it's 4th and 8, and it's right around like the 37, 38, right? You're almost at that no man's land. But you mentioned the name, my rookie of the year, Tyler Bass. The kid's got a leg, right? If you're going to give him a shot right there. Let him kick the 54, 55-yarder. Instead, we're going to go for it this time. If you're going to punt, that's where you punt, right? 4th and 8. Yeah, that's kind of tough. Yeah. And if you don't want to kick the field goal, okay, then you do a pooch kick. You angle kick. But you decide that you're going to go for it, but this time to go for it, you're going to try to go for a home run ball. What are we doing? Right? Can we run the slant? Right? Can we run the crossing pattern? Run a drag, run a dig, do something? Can we do a pick play so that somebody splashes and they're open and you can get the 8 yards? No, we want to go up top. And not only do we go up top, let's throw into double coverage. Yeah, that's not a problem. Let's go ahead and do that. Actually, it was triple coverage, right? Makes no sense. Then comes the play of the game. And really, this really was the play of the game, because as close as this game was going back and forth, it really seemed like nobody wanted to assert and be the aggressor, right? You have a 4th and 1. And because this play worked back in 1996 does not mean that the play is going to work now, right? So what they do is they ran, I believe it was McKenzie. They ran him in motion to bring the corner with him. But the corner says, well, hold on. We're not playing man. We're playing so I'm going to stop right here at the line of scrimmage, which leaves nobody out there to block this corner. They snap the ball, wide open, exposed on the left side of the field. And you had Reggie Gillum, who was a half step, which was a counter step. So he's a half step behind. And then as he turns to make his move to block, the corner, who had come down the line with McKenzie, now is standing right there. It just blows up the play for a 7-yard loss. Again, why are we doing this? It's 4th and 1. Lean forward. Jump lean, bring it back. All right, ball is across the play.
Here's what I understand. You got Josh Allen. Why wouldn't you split 4 wide out or go 5? Put your running back out there. I don't care. Go 4, whatever it is. Yeah, go 4 wide. You have Josh Allen in the shotgun. He walks up to the thing and says, hey, check, 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 check. He goes underneath center, snaps the ball, goes in the A gap, and finds whatever side is more open, and you go for that yard. You got freaking Josh Allen. He weighs what, 260?
All day long, you should be running Josh with the quarterback. Your boy does it all the time, and they know he's doing it. See, this is the thing that kills me. They know that the play is going to be run. 4th and 1 when he was back in New England. 4th and 1 now down in Tampa.
Can you stop calling him my boy?
All right, I'll stop now. You just showed him so much love in the preseason that I just thought he was your boy. But it didn't matter where he was, right? New England or in Tampa. It's 4th and 1. You know what's going to happen.
And honestly, from our vantage point, from the camera vantage point, it was so obvious he was doing the sneak because the way he positioned his body, he was setting up to go into he already knew what gap he was going to before he snapped the ball. But I guess the D lineman can't see it from their side, and he always got it. But it's unstoppable. It's truly an unstoppable play. If you have a smart quarterback, you can make it happen. And with Josh Allen being his size, how do you stop that? 4th and 1, 4th and inches? But to me, that's because if you go 4 wide, you have to respect the receivers. So that means you got 4 people on those guys, so it clears out more of the middle. If you bunch everybody in, there's too many mistakes. What game? Oh, it was Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold in the Carolina game. 4th and inches or 4th and 1. They went for it. The center snaps on his foot. He tries to do the handoff. They fumble the football, and they lose 5 yards on the play. Those things happen. But if you do a QB sneak, all you have to do is get the center to quarterback exchange, and all you go. You don't have to worry about all that penetration coming from the sides and getting stepped on, the running back fumbling it. Just
that's exactly right. So, yeah. Do I give credit to the Steelers? Yes. And they did. They played a good game. Defensively, they played a good game. Ben is done, right? Sorry, Steeler Nation. Sorry, terrible towels. Ben is done, right? And I'm the biggest. I was the biggest Roethlisberger fan because I wanted the Bills to draft him. All they had to do was make the trade. Don't have me go back over that one. That trade was sitting there, and I don't know what they were doing. But yes, I lost a laptop that day, lost some other things that day because that very not a happy day in Cole's house.
I have to admit that I remember that draft. I remember saying no guy with a name like Roethlisberger is going to do anything in the NFL as a joke. But it was you were calling for him from Miami of Ohio,
right? That
you wanted him badly as your quarterback. I will attest to that to the people that don't know you going back all that way. You were a big Ben fan. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. And it didn't happen. Yeah, it didn't happen. We ended up drafting.
You wouldn't have Josh Allen today.
No, we ended up with Lee Evans at 15, and then we came back and traded with Dallas to get J.P. Lossman, which that's a whole other story. I like J.P. Lossman, but just a whole different thing. But neither here nor there. The Steelers are lucky. They're lucky that they played Buffalo, and they're lucky that Buffalo couldn't get their head out there. You know what?
So you're saying that Buffalo's a weak team, that they were lucky and fortunate to play Buffalo? I'm
saying, and if you would have caught the last part, they were lucky that Buffalo couldn't get their head out there. You know what?
I must have didn't hear that last part. I heard lucky to play Buffalo.
And I'm not throwing shade on the Steelers. I'm not. But when you look at that, the Steelers. They always have been, but they are all a defensive team. In these games that they win, the games that they win are going to be close games, right? That defense is going to lead them. Ben is not going to help them get over the hump. And Najee Harris, great back, but he's got to get the ball more. He's got to do more. He's got to produce, because when you have your quarterback that is right around 50%, throwing for 170-something yards, and really just a shell of himself, that you're in trouble.
Yeah, I think the Steelers know they have to figure out the quarterback spot here in the next offseason.
But you would have thought that they would have done that.
I thought it was going to be this year. I got to be honest with you.
Thank you, Terry. You're exactly right. They did well, and they were lucky that the Bills didn't get their head out of there. You know what? But you would have thought that they would have done that. I mean, they were the perfect spot for Trey Lance. Yeah. They really were.
Well, Trey Lance, they traded up to get Trey Lance, right?
Sure.
But maybe they could have got a Mac Jones. They could have gotten Justin Fields, right? They could have moved up to get a Justin Fields. They could have gotten a quarterback if they wanted a quarterback. They could have moved up to get a quarterback in the first round and have that succession planning underway. Big Ben probably plays this year, transitions out. The rookie quarterback starts this year in year 2. I think teams that are able to make that, we've seen the Packers do it. We've seen the Colts. Well, the Colts in transition. Peyton Manning got hurt, and then they grabbed Luck, right? This whole select for Luck thing. But, organizations that are able to transition from one quarterback to another have them in the waitings. Like the Eagles, Carson Wentz with Jalen Hurts. Perfect right there, right, Jay?
Yeah.
They transitioned perfectly, right? They had Carson Wentz and won the Super Bowl with Nick Foles as the starting quarterback, and then they decided to, draft Jalen Hurts and have him, have 1 year underneath Carson Wentz, and then trade Carson Wentz and make Hurts the starter. And look, the Eagles went off to a good start against the powerful. The Atlanta Falcons.
Who's another team that should be looking at a quarterback? Don't know why you didn't.
I'm telling you, they made the really big mistake by not finding a trade partner for Matt Ryan, reinvesting and drafting, blowing this whole thing up. Now you got an old quarterback with a team. There's nothing there from the fact. There's nothing redeeming about the Atlanta Falcons where you can say they're in a good spot. And I think they're going to be a hurting franchise over the next several years.
I'm calling out Arthur Blank because I know that Buffalo had a trade package on the table. They could have traded back out of that number 4 pick. They could have gone back to 27, 28. They could have taken their quarterback back then and got the quarterback, got an additional pick. Yes, Buffalo would have drafted Kyle Pitts, and that life would have been good, at least with me, because he was in mine.
Sure.
Right. But then they would have been forced to get the quarterback. Instead, you stay there, and you got to take Kyle Pitts. But you forget, in order for Kyle Pitts to go off, there's got to be somebody to throw him the ball. And Matt Ryan ain't it.
But at the end of the day, okay, maybe this year you drafted Kyle Pitts. Maybe next year you go get your quarterback because you're going to be in the tank, and then it's a moot point. But to me, I look at Matt Ryan, I say, there was value. Somebody would have given you something for Matt Ryan that felt like they were a quarterback away. They just didn't have the quarterback on the roster. I don't know. Maybe like the Denver Broncos on draft day. Maybe they pulled the trade for Matt. I don't know. I'm speculating, right? But
let me ask you this question: has Matt Ryan ever been the same since losing that Super Bowl?
No.
That was it.
franchise hasn't really, when you think about it.
Well,
they
true.
haven't recovered, right?
But that was it for Matty Ice. That really was it. Never been the same.
He's a BC player.
I was going to say something, and I said I wouldn't say anything else. So, okay. Stevie D. I promised you, and I'm living up to, I said I wouldn't say anything else. So
okay. All right. Because if you said it again.
Because all I'll say is, your boy. I wasn't talking to you.
Yeah.
But all right, so this week we have our preview. There's a couple games that are going to be interesting here.
Yeah, Mac Jones versus Zach Wilson at MetLife Stadium. Yeah, I agree. Battle of the two rookie quarterbacks in the first round. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, okay, I'll go with that. I was thinking about the game that we have on Thursday, which is going to be interesting, and here's the reason why. You have the Giants versus the Washington football team, right? We had Mark Burstein, big Washington football team fan. But here's why this is going to be interesting. Because Ryan Fitzpatrick, like you mentioned, is out, right?
Yep.
I'm not sure if she has to have surgery on the hip, but he's out with the hip.
Yeah, 6 to 8 weeks, I think they said.
So now the question is, if you lose that significant amount of time, Tyler Heineken, right? Heineke, great kid.
As long as you don't call him Meineke.
Great story from the playoffs against the Bucks, right? But is he ready now for the grind?
Yeah, he came off the bench. He played pretty well coming off the bench.
Okay. And so now you're going to get your real shot.
Expectation. No. Not against the Giants. That's not a real shot against the Giants.
But in all fairness, they need this. They absolutely need this. You're 0-1. Yes, you're in a very bad division, but you're 0-1. You can ill afford to go 0-4 in that division. Right?
Okay.
So does that mean that Riverboat Ron calls on his boy Cam Newton and says, Cam, I need you to help steady the ship?
I think it's a fit.
I do
think
too.
It's a fit. I mean, he knows everybody there. It's Carolina North, right? I mean, that's what the Washington football team is. So
actually, Buffalo is Carolina North.
Well, part 2. Well, they were part 1. Washington is part 2.
Yeah, but we try to retain that title. We still take players from Carolina.
I think it's going to be on the cards. I don't know who's after. Is it Allen? Casey Allen? Cody Allen? I think it's the backup after
on their depth. Their depth.
Yeah. Which I think that quarterback came from Carolina.
Yeah, they have Kyle Allen.
Kyle Allen, thank you. I knew it was an Allen.
Yeah,
because they don't have Bruce Allen.
So I mean, really, the question is,
what I did there.
Yeah, I did. But the question is, do they look to get Cam? Cam brings the level of celebrity, but I think he brings the know with Rivera. He knows what he's getting. He knows how to run his type of style of offense. I think it's just an easy transition.
The only thing that I worry about is, though, we saw bad tape of Cam Newton last year.
We did.
His throwing is not very good. And if the way their offense is running, where they're going to throw the football, maybe Cam is not a fit there, and they rather just go with the younger guys that can actually throw the football, whether they can make the best decisions.
That's a good point. That's a good point. We then, if we take a look at a game that is intriguing for me, I have no idea how this team won the way they did. I don't know where they got it, but I'm talking about the Houston Texans.
Ooh. Come on, it's your boy. Your boy's quarterbacking down
I know,
there.
and he was showing out, absolutely showing out. But now they're taking on the Browns.
In all fairness, they were taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars, so we got to temper the expectation a little bit.
Yeah, but still, they were throwing up some points.
Yes, yeah, they did. 37, I believe. Oh.
The Browns, I thought they played a decent game. I thought the game swung a little bit, in just a very short period of time. Kansas City used that to just, go for the jugular. And they just –
that's what they do, though.
It is. They wait for you to make that one mistake, and then that's it. And then
in a blink, the whole game, the whole scoreboard flips, and that's how potent the Chiefs are with their weapons. It's unbelievable to watch.
And literally, I missed like total time. I missed like 5 minutes of that game. Game time is probably less than that. I swear, when I left, the Browns were winning. When I came back, Kelsey had just scored, and now the Browns are getting beat. I'm like, what just happened? How did this just happen, right?
You know what I don't understand? Really, it drove me crazy. How does the punter...
A shot at the Browns. Look at that.
Wow.
I like it. I like it. But then again, Terry is a Bills fan, so I have to appreciate that.
But how does the punter drop the football on a perfect snap? I mean, come on. Seriously, guy? Catch the ball.
Yeah.
You got two things to do. Think about this. You got two things to do. Catch it and kick it. You do that maybe a handful of times. In that game, you probably didn't do it that often. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, that's ridiculous. And then they get the ball at the 15. 2 plays later, Kelsey's in for the touchdown. It's 29-33. Game, set, match. I mean, it's, I joked with you. The Browns still the Browns. I mean, that's an awful loss. I'm sorry, it's an awful loss. I know it's Kansas City at home. They're a potent offense. But, Cleveland, you want to consider yourself an upper echelon team. Everybody's talking about you. Your roster stacked. Sorry. Come on. You got to be better than that. If you would have lost and your punter kicked it downfield, I'd give it to you. But come on, man. Come on.
Come on, player. All right, so a couple more, Stevie D.
Yeah.
Looking in the NFC side, you have the 49ers and the Eagles. Reason why I highlight that game, it's going to be interesting to see where San Francisco goes. Mostert's out, right? They're going deeper and deeper on the depth chart. You're looking at the Eagles. I don't have faith in the Eagles right now. I have no idea. Look at that. Look at that. Good teams find a way to win. Look at that.
Unbelievable.
And we're live. We can't cut. Go ahead.
I mean, she's right. Good teams find a way to win, and we've seen that. We've seen that over and over again. Where teams, you say, "Man, how did they get to the playoffs?"
You know what?
They're good.
The official word sports brought to you by the DeCola family.
We're everywhere. We're in Kansas City. We're in New York. We're in Phoenix. Right?
You're international, all over the place. Hey, Mrs. D. I don't trust the Eagles. I really don't.
I think there's a lot of football left. I mean, they played a very good game against a very bad football team.
Yes,
in my eyes.
All of that very true.
So as its competition gets stiffer and the 49ers are a much better team, is it the Eagles home or in San Fran?
The Eagles are home, but they're a 3-point dog.
Actually, that's a pretty good spread for the. I can't believe the Eagles only are -3 or +3.
Well, you get 3 points for being at home, right?
But the 49ers are not a bad football team. So to be underdogs by 3, I think that's a pretty good margin for the Eagles.
In that one, sorry, Jay, I'm going with Jimmy G.
Jimmy Italian, G. Baby. You got to go with the Italian. Come on now.
Yeah. All right, so our last two, and you talked about this one a little early. You said you like Mac Jones in this one. Talking about the Patriots and the Jets. I was a little surprised, and it must just be the quarterbacks for the Patriots that you fall in love.
No, which is going to be interesting in this game. So we couldn't stop a nosebleed as far as the pass rush in the first half last week. Now, Mekhi Becton's out with a dislocated kneecap. He got rolled up on something awful.
What's the time to? I meant to ask you about that.
6 to 8 weeks. He had the surgery already, 6 to 8 weeks. But I don't know if you saw it. It was just nasty. When you're a man that large and you get rolled up on like that and then you're falling backwards, like the way he twisted, oh, man, it was painful to watch. I feel for him. People say he's injury prone. You can't stop that when you get rolled up underneath there. He's a large man. So, I worry about what Belichick does to rookie quarterbacks. and the
Sure.
schemes that he puts together. And so that's going to be the curious to see what LaFleur kind of counteracts that. But I have to be honest with you, the Jets got to get a running game. You can't go into these games with like a Bill Belichick and carry the Jets averaged 2.6 yards per carry, the worst in the NFL in week 1. You cannot do that to a rookie quarterback and think you're going to put him in a spot to succeed. They have to figure ways to get this running game going to at least 3.5 yards per carry. At minimum, you got to at least get there this week. I
don't like the Jets in this one.
I don't like
the Jets.
I'm going to pick the Jets just because being a Jet fan, but the reality is Bill Belichick's record against rookie quarterbacks is pretty darn good, right? And he finds ways to confuse you. They're going to try and take out Corey Davis. It looks like Corey Davis and Zach Wilson have that. What does Belichick always say? I'm going to take out your number one weapon, and you're going to beat me with somebody else. So I think they'll maybe even double cover Corey Davis until they can prove that Zach can go somewhere else. I think it is going to be a tough game. Even
what about the kid you drafted, the second round pick,
Elijah Moore?
Yeah.
So Elijah Moore, he was on the field a lot, just didn't get a lot of balls thrown his way. And second round pick last year, Denzel Mims, where the fan base is screaming for Denzel Mims, but the problem with Mims right now, it's not his ability to catch the ball. What I'm hearing, it's that his knowledge of the playbook and how to run the scheme is the problem. And that's why he was on the field one play or 3 snaps. We had 1 catch. He was on the field for 3 snaps.
For Denzel Mims?
Yeah, because he's something he lacks with going in motion. He's not a motion guy, and he's having trouble reading some of these plays. It's kind of like if you remember a couple of years ago with Chad Johnson. Like Chad Johnson, when he went to the Patriots, he couldn't grasp the playbook. He really didn't play. And Denzel Mims is having trouble with this playbook, and he's falling on the depth chart.
Now, in all fairness, I know we were doing the picks and kind of got away from that. Yeah. Then that's a problem with the Jets coaching staff. Oh. You have a talent, second-round talent. He's going to be on the roster. Either A, get rid of him now so you can get with value, or you put him in positions so that he can exceed and he can excel. You find out what's going on.
Yeah. Look, I don't know enough in week 1. That's what I heard. We'll see where it shakes out. Maybe he's a slow starter.
Who did you hear this from, Stevie D? Now where'd you get this information?
His friend.
Was this?
I know.
Was this the guy sitting at the end of the bar, or was this the guy that was around the corner of the bar?
I reached out to my sources on the East Coast, and I got some information.
Like, hey, Stevie D, come here. I got something for you.
Yeah, that's how I roll. Come on now. How you get all your information on the Buffalo Bills? I get mine.
Oh, I just wing it.
You got to get some inside sources, my friend. But seriously, that's what I hear about Mims. So, what's the next game?
The last game is the Bills and the Dolphins. Interesting game because Buffalo is coming off of that putrid loss. They're going down to Hard Rock Stadium, right? Going to have to deal with all that nonsense. And going to have to deal with Tua, right?
Deal with Tua like he's something good. I don't understand the question here.
So I don't feel sorry for the Dolphins fans, not whatsoever. But I do ask. This is all I ask, because this is the way that I would do it. I would be so irritated, and this is PG, so I'm not saying what I really wanted to say, but I would be so irritated and hacked off from what happened this past Sunday that when I go down there, not only am I playing a rival, but I am going to open up a can of, whatever, blow doors off, whatever. I will lay it so hard on the Dolphins. Tua would be thankful that he played a half this game, because I would let all of that energy and frustration come
that's out. One of your favorite teams in the NFL. Why would you?
Never said that. You can't associate that. Man. I won't take that.
Dan Marino fan?
I was a Dan Marino fan after he retired. That's right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. Yeah. You told me stories offline. Come on now. You go play like you were in the big Green Grill.
Don't make up stuff. There you go.
Yeah.
I see it.
Yeah.
You know what? Then it's back
Actually, wait a minute. Wait a minute. If we have to go back to our quarterback show and all that love you had for Dan Marino. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All that love for Dan Marino.
And he retired.
Yeah, so what does that mean?
Just like I like Larry Bird now. As a Knicks fan, I couldn't stand Larry Bird. Could not stand him. Now, Larry Legend. Larry, because he can't hurt me anymore. Yeah,
well, let me tell you something about Dan Marino. I never liked him, and I still don't like him. Hate Dan Marino.
Fake spike. But anyways, my hope is that, and I don't think they are, but maybe they do. Hang half 100 on him. That would be great. Hang half 100.
Are you calling your shot right now?
I am.
So what are you going to predict for the final? 50 to what?
53-14.
Hey, and that means my fantasy points. So hopefully your quarterback does something.
You're all excited, but actually, I believe that they hung half 100 on him last year.
Oh, Miami?
Yeah.
Oh, so you won't do it 2 years in a row.
It means that you have it in you. That's what it means. It means that you have it in you. And, yeah, 56-26 last year.
All right.
So
you can play all you want up top.
Actually, there's a gecko on my wall.
Gotta love Florida.
Yeah, and I'm watching. He's like, "Oh, where'd you come from?" Yeah,
See, Dina, that's why we left Florida. We don't have to deal with the geckos.
Okay, so it's been a pleasure. I need to see where the guy's going. Yeah. So we thank everybody that participated in the show, and certainly listen to us on your favorite podcasting platform, or checking us out here on Facebook or on YouTube as we're streaming live, and the videos will still be there. But we do appreciate the participation. Send us tweets at Real OWSports right on the Facebook page, and we'd love to hear from you any topics that you'd like to talk about. To wrap this one up, and for my co-host Stevie D, I'm Vince, and we'll talk to you soon.